Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So this video I'm going to be just talking a little bit more about the body language aspect of the previous video that I have done, and if you haven't seen that, scroll to the end of this video, perhaps watch that one first and then come back to this one. And I'm also going to be discussing the elements of the Invictus and some of the other things that I have seen that have come up that I haven't spoken about. So before we get to the next bit, I just want to reiterate that if you do want to join me on this channel and add your own little video to the Grab Your Drink of choice, then you can. You just got to do a video. It could be you, it could be your voice, it could be something funny, something with your animals, whatever it is. Obviously bear in mind that young children I would prefer not to, because this is the internet and it can be unscrupulous, so I'd be very mindful of having young children on a video. But I could try and cover the faces if that helps. But generally speaking, if it's you and your family sitting there saying grab your drink of choice, whatever it is. We've already had one lovely lady come on. I cannot believe that there's not more of you that don't want to join in this. I don't know whether you're a bit shy, but like I said, you don't have to be on camera. You can just do a voiceover. So if you want to, then please, my email address is along the bottom here, so send it there and you will appear on my channel. So that being said, grab your drink of choice and drop it in the comments. What are you sitting back relaxing with today? And if you want to add a little something to that drink of choice, then as the flag says behind me, yeah, you got it. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So grab your drink and let's dive right in. So before I get into this video, I just want to say just something that I just want to mention. Does any of you ever have a hair colour malfunction? I have. I bought this hair colour and I do not know what went wrong, but as you can see, my roots are a different colour. So yeah, I'm gonna have to redo that and get something that makes my roots that bit darker, because I look like I've got a red badger stripe at the moment. And yeah, it's quite funny. I know, I didn't notice it until I looked in the light, because I stupidly, they always say colour your hair in the daytime, but I didn't have time today because I was working. So yeah. I'm sure many of you women out there, or men even, can sympathise with me. So yeah, I have a badger stripe while doing this video. Honestly, being a woman sometimes. So yeah, okay, the video. Right, so some of you, if you haven't, like I say, go and watch the body language video and come back to me, because I'm going to clear up some of the things that I saw in the comments, and I'm obviously going to be talking a bit about what I kind of think is going on with Harry and Meghan, the Sussex website, etc. A few people said that they thought that Meghan was standing next to the interviewer, so Harry was looking at Meghan whilst he was talking to the interviewer, and so he was almost, and I think that we have to be very careful here, because when I do the videos, I base it off the things that I know and the things that I see, and that's whether that's professional or personal. I try not to guess, and I think it's very easy for us to get caught up in where some of these YouTubers, I feel, offer a bit of guesswork. I don't feel that they're coming from a place of where they've actually got at the facts, or they're really looking at it with their critical thinking. And so they get very caught up in the gossip side of things. Like I see lots of things on Quora, Reddit, TikTok, etc. And there's no real evidence behind something. So I have seen videos where people have said, oh, Meghan Markle standing right next to the interviewer and she's making sure Harry says this, that and the other. But again, we don't know that. But even if that was the case, let's just say hypothetically, if that was the case, it would not make a difference to Harry's body language of his eye movement. So it wouldn't matter who he was looking at. if you are recalling memory, your eyes do the same thing. So even if he was looking at Meghan, it would actually almost look a bit better in a way, because his eyes would then divert left if he was recalling factual memory. And so it would then look like he's looking at the interviewer. So actually, in a way, it would look better, but he wasn't. And as I was studying the video, I trust my instincts a lot, and I didn't get the vibe that somebody was there in front of him, standing next to the interviewer. I mean, it would have been a little bit awkward. And I would have thought that if that was the case, then there's every chance that she would have also interjected herself into the interview. I don't think Meghan, as a narcissist, she would have been able to stand there letting Harry have all the attention, and then she has absolutely nothing. So I generally don't think that she was standing right next to the interviewer. So when you see Harry looking to his right, I'm trying to make sure I get that right, that it's her that's there. I think that's just generally where he's standing, and generally where the interviewer's standing, and the cameraman probably as well, obviously, because they're filming. So the other thing as well is that people have said that they think that Meghan is controlling Harry. Now, in the beginning, I would honestly say yes. You know, being a narcissistic relationship, the chances are, you know, she come in with a love bombing, she manipulated, they trauma bonded, and there's every chance that she manipulated Harry into pandering to his ego. And I've said before, and I think people sometimes, they haven't watched my older videos when they see some of the videos that I do, and they think that I'm letting Harry off the hook. I will categorically say right here, right now, that I think Harry is just as bad. He may not have the same personality disorder as her. Like I've said, I think he has histrionic, but it's very interlinked with narcissism. I think he's always been a spoiled, entitled, selfish child. It was hidden. And so the version of Harry that we saw in the media when he was before Meghan, I think was, one, very protected by the royal family. I think being around his brother and sister were probably very good influences on him. And you can find that someone like Harry will take on board outside influences because he's quite easily led. So I would imagine that being around William, his family, Catherine, etc., that he probably drew on the way they were as good people. So it might have sort of changed him to some degree. However, obviously meeting Meghan, she's pandered to this ego part of him, and it's taken over. So the Harry that we see now, I think, has always been there. It's now allowed to come out full force without the protection of the royal family. So do I think that he's being controlled by Meghan? In some ways, yes, because I do feel that there is something going on behind the scenes that is creating them to get away with what they're getting away with. And I have said before, I believe it's either there is something in regards to a possible sex tape. Now, I have had people in the comments say, okay, so if it's Harry doing something, say, unscrupulous with perhaps Marcus Anderson or somebody else, why is that such a big deal? You know, being gay isn't a big deal. And it's not. It's absolutely not a big deal. But to someone like Harry, whose whole ethos and whole personality is carved around being this heterosexual male who, you know, is one of the lads, and, you know, and he's been in the army, and he's, this kind of, a man's man, it will go against everything that he's tried to portray. So to come out as whether bi or gay, etc., that in his mind, not anyone else's, but in his mind, that is incredibly damaging. It would literally sort of crush any of this, like, say, the persona of being like a man's man, a bit of like, oh, he's a lad, and, he's one of the guys, in Harry's mind, because this is how he would view people. Because I actually feel, if I'm honest, I think there's a whole bundle of things going on underneath with Harry. I think there's possible homophobia. I think there is, he's a bigot. I believe he's misogynistic. There is so much anger under the surface of that man that he doesn't even really know who he is either. And I think that to rock that part of him would be, in his eyes, terrible. So I think that if that is the case, it is very possible that that's why he wouldn't want that to come out, because it would ruin the version of himself that he's been telling everyone he is for years. And he thinks it would, maybe people would be different with him. And this is just going from what I know professionally with this type of personality that's Harry's. And so the other thing as well is that I believe that the other thing could be the truth in regards to the children. Now, I know I still get in the comments people say that they believe she was pregnant. And at the end of the day, that isn't absolutely your right to believe whatever it is that I'm not here to tell you that what I say is absolutely right. You know, you're allowed to believe what you want to believe. However, if you've watched the bump video and other things I've done in regards to the children, watch those, I would say, if you haven't already. And if you still feel that she was pregnant, then of course, again, that is your right to do so. However, what I would also say is that a narcissist would not choose to be pregnant unless they felt it was to do with manipulation. So they would get pregnant if it meant to manipulate, to use children as a tool, a weapon in some way, whether it be against the other parent, or whether it's something for themselves. And so the fact that it's sort of coming out that people believe that a surrogate was used, in all honesty, this is why I don't believe a surrogate was used, because I don't believe that a narcissist would choose to use a surrogate. They'd either want to be pregnant themselves, or they, wouldn't. In my opinion, and this is just from what I believe. This is, again, I'm not saying this is 100% true. I just don't believe, because they're not maternal, so they're using it as a weapon, as a tool. So then for a woman for her to allow a woman to carry, say, Harry's child, or if you want to believe that it's got her DNA too, which I don't, then you're allowing another woman to have control over your child and your husband's child. And a narcissist would, in my opinion, would never allow this. So I don't believe a surrogate was used for that reason. Also, as well, because I don't believe the royal family would lie about a surrogate, because it's not a big deal. It's not. You know, if you want to use a surrogate, there's nothing wrong with that. So it's not a big enough reason to lie, which then means if that was the case, then there has to be something else prior to that. So the royal family would have to go along with it. They would have to go along with this huge lie. So then it's either got to be to do with, and I've said before, possibly Andrew, is the connection with Andrew, but in which case that's just as bad for her as it is for him. And there was the things that have come out in regards to she was possibly going to be called in the court case with Virginia Giuffre. So it's very possible that this is all kind of going on behind the scenes. But again, you're sort of then looking at that the royal family have allowed themselves to be, in a sense, blackmailed by this woman who's come in, and whether it be to do with the sex tape or whatever. So could it be that they are just trying to protect Harry? Now, I have also said that I do believe there is an Archie, which I do. And I still will stand by, with everything that I know and believe with a narcissist, that Harry has got somebody pregnant. We know that he was a player. We know that he was seeing all sorts of women. We know that there are very strong rumours coming out of his treatment of women. We've only got to look at his book at how misogynistic he is. He doesn't have any respect for women. I don't believe he has respect for Meghan, whether she deserves it or not. He doesn't. I don't believe that he has respect for his mum. I generally don't believe he has respect for Catherine, given the way he's behaved. This is not a woman's man. He isn't. So it's very possible to me that he has got somebody pregnant. And that way then, that to me does explain a lot of things. It explains why Meghan would go along with it, because in her mind, A, she doesn't have to get pregnant. B, she's got something over Harry because they would want to keep it quiet. And even though an illegitimate child isn't awful, it is perhaps if you're, say, married to Meghan at the time when it happens, because she would not accept that. But you've got to remember that Meghan doesn't love Harry. This is her cash cow. So if he has gone out and been unfaithful, and there were rumours around the beginning of their relationship where he was being unfaithful. So there's every chance that they've had a row. I've said before that, you know, this whole thing in regards to the fake suicidal story, you know, it's very possible that in those times he's got frustrated, fed up with the lies, fed up with her manipulation, and he's gone out, got drunk or whatever it is, and slept with somebody else. Meghan isn't going to care necessarily, because she is going to care, but she's going to care because she doesn't want to lose the cash cow that she's got. So if Harry has gone out and been unfaithful and got somebody else pregnant, then she would do one of two things. She could leave him, or she would stay and say, I'll support you in this, but I'll pretend to be pregnant and will act like the child is mine. And that way then she's got him. Hook, line and sinker. She has got him. Because even though, yeah, an illegitimate child is not necessarily huge, but it is when you've got a wife who would say, the reason you got somebody else pregnant is because you didn't want me to have a child. You didn't want you're racist. She would use the race card, etc. You can't do this to me. I've had a miscarriage before. And again, this is all hypothetical because this is just kind of how my brain works. And so then the royal family would potentially step in and to protect Harry, and at the time maybe even protect Meghan because they might feel sorry for her. I don't know. I doubt it, because at this point they probably see who she is. But if she's crying racism and saying, I'm not leaving him because, you know, this is my husband and I'm not leaving him. So they've sort of said, okay, well, we'll protect Harry. So they've gone along with the fake pregnancy, because you only have to have eyes to see she wasn't pregnant. We had the moon bump flashes, and I think that was her going, I know the truth, you know the truth, and there's nothing you can do about it. She was taunting the media, taunting the royal family, and this is what she's been doing the whole way along because she's got away with it. Now, I know that people are going to be like, this is ridiculous. There's no way that Meghan would stand to, and I've had people say in the comments, Meghan wouldn't raise another man's child. No, she wouldn't. But that's why I've said before, Archie isn't with them. Archie is here, I believe, in the UK with the real mother, or was, and maybe has moved somewhere else. I don't know, because we did have that reference by King Charles, who said, happy birthday to Archie wherever you are. So it's possible that she's moved away. And people again have said, well, why wouldn't she come forward? Ask yourself, would you, given how much drama those two bring, if you're a decent mother, the chances are you'd want to protect your child, so you would probably want the child to grow up not having anything to do with that. I know I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, guess what, I'm the real mother of Archie. You know, people only do that type of thing if they I suppose if they want to expose the truth, because there's either a gain for them in some way in exposing the truth, or there's something coming out that could be far worse, and they're coming out and saying, no, hang on a minute, this is the truth. But generally speaking, why would this person come out and say, you know, because that's not protecting your child. So I genuinely believe that this is what's happening. So that's why when he's in Canada and he's doing that interview, you can tell just by his answers that those children are not with him. He doesn't answer like a parent. He's not a hands-on dad. Even if he's got a child, he's not a hands-on dad. He doesn't answer like a parent would answer. He doesn't boast and gloat about his children. Neither does Meghan. And all right, that's not necessarily that uncommon for a narcissist not to do that. But generally speaking, when you've got a child that you've named Lilibet Diana, you would be using this child to, like I said, be front and center along with you because she's young, to make it look like, oh my God, what a wonderful parent Meghan is. How she's so amazing. The reason she doesn't is because she doesn't have the girl with her. The only reason narcissists then start to become jealous is if the child then starts to take attention away from, say, the mother. But she would also use Lily to counteract the attention that the Wales children got. So when they come out, then she would be out showing the children to counteract, like she does every time they come out. Every time the Prince and Princess of Wales come out pop Harry and Meghan somewhere. And she'll be doing the same type of thing. But in that interview, it was very clear to me that he has not got this relationship with these children. I mean, who says they both got a sense of humour? Just a weird thing to say. I mean, maybe Archie, but Lily at the age of 2 and a bit, how has she got a sense of humour? It's just random. There's no individuality in his answers, like, you know, oh, Archie's got a really great sense of humour and Lily is just so cute in what she does. There's none of that. It's just they both do this, they both do that, and it's very blanket. That's it. Can't really go anywhere with it. And the interviewers, I think they probably choose their interviewers, and they choose ones that don't dig. That's really interesting. What way have they got a good sense of humour? There's no firing back with anything. And to me, like I said, when I was watching that video, it was the way he was angry, agitated. To me, he didn't want to be there doing that interview. He just wanted to be doing the fun stuff. And that is what Harry is all about. He's very childlike. And that's why I've said he's got arrested development. His mental, emotional maturity is around the capacity of a 13, 14-year-old. He just wants to get on the ski slopes and have fun. He's not interested in a life of service. You know, that's why he's lazy. He will show up, do the things that he needs to do. He's probably got people behind the scenes doing all the hard work for him, but he does nothing. And Meghan is very much the same. So whereas in the beginning, it's very possible that she manipulated him in making him think that, oh yeah, come to America, because in America you're going to be like you're going to be so, much more popular than William and Catherine. And I think that's probably how she sold it to him. And he believed her. But the problem is that because of their lazy mentality and they're not genuine, that people see through that very quickly. The Brits did, and that's why she hates the Brits, and that's why Harry does, because we saw through him. Without the protection of the royal family, we started to turn against him, and he didn't like it. And that's exactly why they then hot-footed over to America, thinking that they could schmooze them. That's not worked. So now it's like, oh, who else can we do? And what you're going to find now probably is that they're going to try grooming countries that, in a sense, almost create them to feel important. Like whether Canada, I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of what happened in Canada. I've heard different scenarios. I've seen videos of them being booed. I've seen, I haven't really seen any videos of them being really cheered. But there's been ones where people have said they're not welcome, and then other ones where they've been really welcomed. So I generally don't know. But if they got a bit of the royal treatment over there, then they would love that, because that's what they want. They want all of the adulation without the hard work. And then you've got the fact that Michael Bublé sang, and I know people have had a lot of comments around that, but you've also got to look at the fact Michael Bublé is trying to probably revamp his career. He's just recently done an Asda advert, and I think especially over here in the UK, when you start doing adverts, you're either kind of doing that when you're like one of the lower down celebrities, you're doing these voiceover adverts. You're certainly not doing things like that when you're an A-list celebrity. I don't know what it's like in the States, but over here it kind of tends to be that if you start doing adverts, then it's kind of like, or reality TV, it's like, oh, you need a bit of a resurgence in your career. And Harry could have had, now bearing in mind, I think if this had been William and Catherine, they could have probably had the pick of the bunch. So Harry could have had, and here are some of the people that are Canadian, and I do apologise. I've Googled this, so if Google's got it wrong, it's Google's fault, not mine. So he could have had Justin Bieber, Drake, Bryan Adams, Shawn Mendes, Shania Twain, The Weeknd, K.D. Lang, Alanis Morissette, Avril Lavigne, Kelly Furtado, and I think Joni Mitchell, is Joni Mitchell still alive? I hope. I'm sorry if she's not. But he went with Michael Bublé. And so I think that Michael Bublé was probably using Harry and Meghan just as much as what that Harry and Meghan were. And he's not really anywhere at the moment. And so he probably needed a little bit of attention to his career, and well, he's got it, but not in the best way possible. And the body language between the wife and Meghan was interesting. I think that there was more of a, I'm going to tolerate you. I don't particularly like you or probably even know you, but I'm going to tolerate you because, well, we are here at a public event. Because it didn't look, it looked very contrived, like where ones where they're sort of kind of laughing. It almost felt a bit contrived. Because they probably knew the cameras were on them, but I'd imagine when the cameras are off, it was almost like, yeah, I'm not speaking to you. So, you know, and then you've got the cost, you know, the thing that the cult base, fan base, cult squad, as I call them, seem to not be that bothered about, because if it was William and Catherine that had gone to a charity event, but charged, was it 18,000 or 8,000 a night for the hotel, and the meal was one of the top restaurants in Canada or something, or, you know, her clothing was like 36,000. These are not two people that are about charity. They're really not. And it just beggars belief why these two are associated with Invictus, to be honest. I mean, to me, I think they're hurting Invictus. You know, that interview that Harry did, he made it all about him in a way, him and not him. It was like him and nothing. It was a nothing interview. There was not really anything. You know, to me, why not interview the veterans? Why not have them there? Why? It just didn't make sense to me. And like I say, Harry just seemed disinterested, angry, agitated. He was self-soothing a lot of the time. And I will say that in regards to the question, in regards to him speaking to the king, this is how I think it went down, in all honesty. I think he got a call from his dad to tell him, obviously, that he has got cancer. I think it was a very brief phone call. I think he was told not to come, but he was told that he needed to know. Harry then decided that once the news broke in the media, because it was interesting that he didn't fly over before that, but he flew over. Once the media hit, he knew that he would have to do something to make it seem as if he was the caring son. This was all a PR move, as we now know. Now, from what I've gleaned, and by his responses on that video, he never met his father. And I will stake my career on the fact, I think he went over there. I think he turned up. I believe that he was told that he couldn't stay. I would suspect that the reason that the helicopter was late was probably because King Charles was told that obviously Harry was in the building, and so there was probably a little bit of stress around that. You don't meet your father for 15 minutes and then go. You know, it'll probably take you, for a start, it'll probably take you, 15 minutes to get into the actual place where they're at anyway, get through security, etc. Even if it is his son, they'd still want to check him. And obviously advisors, you can't just sort of rock up and be like, you know what, hi dad, I want to see you. By his answers and the way he responded, I don't believe he actually saw his father at all. And I think he was really angry. I think he was very annoyed that he didn't get to see his father. And he turned tail and left. If you really wanted to sort things out with your dad, you would have gone to a hotel and you would have stayed there until your dad was able to see you. He didn't. He flew back to, I think he stayed, was it one night, and then flew back to the States, because he was obviously at the Vegas thing that night. So he didn't really care, in my opinion, about it. It was all about the optics of what it looked like, of, oh, look at Harry. He's gone all the way over there to see his dad. What a lovely son. Again, the media forgetting what the 4 years that he's put his family through. But, that's just a small thing. That doesn't matter. And then we had the Sussex website go up. And the outrage when I saw it, I was. But I mean, I've settled down a bit now, and I just think it's not going to go anywhere. I really do, because even though, you know what, if anything, if it puts Sussex on the map a bit, great. At the end of the day, I don't particularly care about those two. But if it puts Sussex where people might want to visit, then great, wonderful. But now I've calmed down, I just think they can do what they want. At the end of the day, they can have a Sussex website, they could have a a monetised website for all I care. We know what they're trying to do. The money's drying up. That's why they've disbanded Archerwell in a way, and they've now decided to do that because Archerwell was flopping. I think last year it had lost 1.8 million or something. It's literally no one cares about it. No one's donating. So they've decided to attach themselves back to the royal family again. And and everyone can see that. And it's not going to work. They can do what they want. Now, I truly hope that that website gets taken down, or they're told to take the crest off and not name it. I don't know. I think that the royal family have got bigger things to worry about right now than those two throwing their toys out the pram, trying to get attention. And I think that's what it is. It's like getting attention from the royal family. It's, trying to do things. It's like young children being naughty to get attention from their parents. To me, that's what Harry and Meghan are doing. They're just trying to get attention, whether it's to revoke the titles so then they're called Prince and Princess, who knows. But I think, let them get on with it. They're just embarrassing themselves. Everyone can see them for who they are. More and more people are coming out saying that it's just ridiculous. Why would you now naming your children Lilibet and Archie Sussex? Well, I don't. No, I don't believe the children are with them anyway. So these are phantom Casper children, in my opinion. So yeah, so that's my theory on this. I don't know what you guys think, whether you agree with me, but I genuinely do, and I've said this before. Harry has one child, in my opinion, and that is Archie, and he is over here in the UK, or he was in the UK. Where he is now, I don't know. I don't believe Lily exists. Well, okay, she was an adoption or a surrogate that was going to happen, and it didn't. The child's name was different, which is why they had originally chose the domain name for that child, which was Mary Diana. And then I think something went wrong. And so then they had to think of another name because the child has already been named. The real child has been named Mary Diana. So they then chose Lily Diana. And I think that was, again, to spite the Queen. And I've said this before. But I don't believe that they have a girl with them, which is why we never see them in a real life setting. It's always videos that they control so they can be manipulated. And I know that people have said, well, Archie looks like her, but you only ever see photographs. And there is a child, which I have said about before, that does look very similar to Archie. It's not Meghan's child. And I think they do use him. And then what they do is they use him for the almost like the videos of a child running around, but then they, ask yourself, why are they always putting out grainy, blurry photos? Why are they always, in California, you would blur the photos of children. So if your children are real, you could go out and about and the faces would be blurred and you'd be none the wiser. But when we do see them, the face is full view, which is weird, especially as they want privacy. And it's because they want us to see. They want us to see or want us to believe that those children are with them, and they're not. And I'm sorry, but after Harry's interview, I am more confirmed that that's the case. So yeah. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, then please think about doing so. If you want to skip parts of the video, you can, of course, but please go to the end because then it counts as a view. I am being targeted, so I just want you guys to please support me as much as possible. Maybe, obviously, I'm saying something that's right because I'm getting reported. So clearly, I always find that if I'm getting reported, then I'm angering someone and I'm doing something right. So, but it doesn't help because it hits my views because YouTube pull me off the algorithm. So if you can comment, like, share, I'd be really, really grateful to all of you. If you want to email me, don't forget you can buy me a cuppa. If you want to support what I do here, you can buy my bubble merchandise. There is a PO box where you can send me something if you so choose, or you can write to me. The other platforms that I'm on, you can go across and support me there too. But yeah, so in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I can't believe we're through another week already. The time is going so fast. But anyway, I love you. I appreciate you. But most of all, I respect you. Take care. Bye-bye.